really cool today? We're cracking open Baidu's latest earnings report. Think of it as a window into China's tech scene and the future of AI.
It's not just any company either. Baidu is a giant, they're often called the Google of China because of their dominance in search and online services.
But here's the catch. They're not content with just being a search engine anymore. They're going all in on AI, aiming to become the world leader in this revolutionary technology. Our mission today, to figure out if they can actually pull it off. Is this transformation real, or is it just hype?
That's the million-dollar question. Robin Lai, Baidu's CEO, called 2024 a pivotal year for their AI strategy. But what does that actually mean in the cutthroat world of business?
Right, and the earnings report shows a bit of a mixed bag. Their overall revenue dips slightly, which isn't exactly a sign of booming success.
But, and this is where things get really interesting, their AI cloud revenue surged a whopping 26% in the last quarter of 2024. That tells us they're gaining serious traction in a market that's exploding right now.
Okay, I see where you're going with this. Even though their traditional internet business is facing some headwinds, their AI ventures are picking up the slack, maybe even exceeding expectations. Could this be the start of a major shift in their revenue streams?
It's certainly possible. This is a classic example of a company trying to reinvent itself. Baidu is betting their future on AI, and these early results suggest the gamble might just pay off.
So, do they actually have a shot at becoming the top dog in the AI world?
They've got some serious advantages, that's for sure. I think massive user base in China, tons of data to train their AI models, and a government that's pouring resources into AI development.
But let's not forget, they're facing some fierce competition, not just from global players like Google and Microsoft, but also from ambitious rivals right there in China.
Exactly. It's a tight race, and it's still early days. But let's dig into one of Baidu's big success stories, their Ernie AI platform. It's handling a mind-blowing 1.65 billion API calls every single day.
Whoa, 1.65 billion. Can you break that down for me? What does that kind of volume actually look like in the real world?
Think of it this way. Each API call represents a business or an individual using Baidu's AI for things like language processing, image recognition, or even generating creative content. That's billions of interactions happening behind the scenes, powering everything from chatbots to self-driving systems.
So it's not just some abstract concept, it's actual people and companies relying on Baidu's AI to get things done. That's pretty impressive.
Absolutely. And it highlights a crucial point for our listener. This isn't just theoretical AI we're talking about. It's being implemented right now on a massive scale.
They also mentioned some huge growth in their document sharing platform, Baidu Wenku, specifically in its AI-powered features. What kind of features are we talking about, and why are they so popular?
Imagine you're facing a mountain of documents and you need to find specific information fast. Baidu Wenku uses AI to make that a breeze. It can summarize documents, translate them on the fly, and even help you generate content based on your research notes.
So instead of drowning in information overload, you can have the AI pull out the key points, translate them into your language, and even help you write your own reports. That's a huge time saver.
Exactly. And it speaks to the broader trend of AI becoming seamlessly integrated into our everyday tools and workflows.
Now let's shift gears to something even more futuristic. Apollo Go, Baidu's foray into the world of robotaxis. They provided over 1.1 million rides in just the last quarter of 2024 and have now crossed 9 million rides in total.
Think about the amount of data they're gathering from those millions of driverless miles. It's an invaluable resource for refining their autonomous driving technology, making it safer and more efficient with every trip.
And they're not just sticking to the familiar streets of China anymore. They just received permits to start testing Apollo Go in Hong Kong, making them the first robotaxi company to do so. What are the challenges of taking this technology global?
Hong Kong is a whole different ballgame compared to mainland China. Think right-hand drive, dense urban environments, and some of the most unpredictable traffic in the world. It's a real test for their technology, but also a strategic move to showcase their global ambitions.
It's not as simple as just dropping their robotaxis in a new city. They'll need to adapt to different regulations, road conditions, and even driving cultures. It'll be fascinating to see how they tackle these challenges.
Absolutely. And here's another development that really caught my eye. Apollo Go is now fully driverless in all of its China operations. No safety drivers behind the wheel, just pure AI taking the reins.
Wow, that feels like a major turning point. Are we actually witnessing the dawn of the driverless future?
It certainly seems that way. Driverless technology has been in development for years, but this level of implementation suggests we're closer than ever to widespread adoption.
Okay, time to dive into the nitty-gritty of Baidu's financials. Walk me through the key numbers. What stands out to you?
Well, their total revenue for 2024 landed at $18.24 billion. That's a slight dip of about 1% compared to the previous year. But as we discussed earlier, it's important to look beyond the top line figure.
Right, we need to break down their revenue sources. They've got their traditional online business, which is mainly search and advertising, and then they've got their newer non-online ventures like AI Cloud.
Exactly. Their online revenue saw a slight decline, which isn't surprising given the overall economic climate. But their non-online revenue, which includes the booming AI cloud segment, is up a healthy 12%. That's the number to watch.
So their strategic shift towards AI is starting to have a real impact on their bottom line. It's not just talk. They're putting their money where their mouth is.
And speaking of putting money somewhere, they're investing heavily in research and development, even as they tighten their belts elsewhere. Over $3 billion poured into R&D in 2024, with a large portion dedicated to advancing their AI capabilities.
That's a bold move, especially considering the economic headwinds. It's a clear signal to investors that they see AI as the future, and they're willing to go all in to secure their position as a leader.
Absolutely. They're essentially saying, we're playing the long game here. They're not just focused on maximizing profits today, they're building for a future where AI is at the core of everything.
And for our listener, this should be a big takeaway. Companies that invest heavily in R&D, especially in a field as transformative as AI, are the ones to watch. They're the ones who are likely to shape the future.
Now let's step back and consider the bigger picture. What does Baidu's transformation mean for the broader trends in AI, tech, and even geopolitics?
That's a huge question. Where do we even begin?
It is a massive question, but it's one worth pondering. Baidu is one of the leading players in the global AI race, and their success or failure will have ripple effects far beyond their own company. They're not just competing for market share, they're competing for influence and technological dominance on a global scale.
So let's leave our listener with a final, thought-provoking question to ponder. If Baidu actually succeeds in this ambitious AI transformation, what will the world look like in 5 years?
Imagine a world where your smartphone knows your needs before you do, where your commute is handled by a driverless car, and where doctors use AI-powered tools to diagnose illnesses with incredible accuracy. That's the potential we're talking about.
It's both exciting and a little bit daunting to think about. How will AI change our lives, our work, and our understanding of the world? These are questions we all need to be asking as we enter this new era of intelligence.
I encourage you to explore some of Baidu's services yourself. See what their AI can do and consider how it might fit into your life. This is just the beginning of our deep dive, so buckle up and get ready to explore even more fascinating aspects of Baidu's AI journey in the coming parts. Welcome back. We're picking up right where we left off, exploring this fascinating world of Baidu's AI transformation. We're going beyond just the headlines and really getting into what this earnings report tells us about their future.
Yeah, last time we were talking about how AI could change the world. Everything from like how we get around to how doctors diagnose us. Now let's get down to brass tacks and see how Baidu is actually putting AI into action. I'm still really curious about that huge jump in AI cloud revenue.
Oh, absolutely. Remember, their total revenue actually dipped a bit, but the AI cloud segment, that's a whole different story. For all of 2024, their AI cloud business raked in a cool $4.35 billion, up a solid 12% year over year.
That's serious growth, especially with their core online stuff struggling a bit. Sounds like they're really hitting a sweet spot in a hot market. But what exactly is driving all this demand? What are businesses actually using these AI solutions for?
It's a mix of things. Businesses are starting to see just how powerful AI can be. It can help them streamline their operations, create super personalized customer experiences, even develop completely new products and services. Baidu's AI Cloud has a whole arsenal of solutions: natural language processing, machine learning tools, pre-trained models for image recognition and speech synthesis, you name it.
So it's not just one magic bullet. It's a whole toolkit of AI stuff that businesses can customize, like building their own AI solutions. But with so many different options, how do they make sure it's all user-friendly? I mean, AI is pretty complex.
That's a great point, and that's something Baidu is really focusing on, making these AI solutions easy to use, even for businesses without a bunch of tech experts. They have these pre-built models and simple interfaces that make integrating AI into existing workflows way easier.
So they're basically making AI less intimidating, making it something any business can use. Pretty smart, actually. We were talking about their big R&D spending before. It sounds like that investment is paying off, not just by creating cool AI, but also making it practical.
Exactly. It's not enough to just invent stuff. It's got to work in the real world and solve real problems. And Baidu seems to get that.
Speaking of real-world problems, let's circle back to their intelligent driving segment. We talked a lot about their robo-taxi service, Apollo Go, but what's the bigger picture here? Are they just trying to replace taxis?
Oh, their vision is way bigger than that. Think revolutionizing transportation, period. Imagine a world where cars drive themselves in even the craziest city traffic, avoid accidents before they happen, and even talk to each other to keep everything moving smoothly.
Wow, a world without traffic jams and accidents. Sounds like science fiction. But how close are they to actually making that happen? What progress are they making?
They've made some incredible progress. They've got millions of miles of real-world driving data, and they're using it to constantly tweak their algorithms. They're not just playing around in simulations, they're testing their tech in some of the toughest driving environments you can find.
We talked about them expanding to Hong Kong, a city with insane traffic. It sounds like they're picking these difficult places on purpose to really push their tech to the limit. What's the strategy there?
It's actually pretty brilliant. By tackling these hard challenges head on, they're not only proving their tech works, but they're also gathering super valuable data that helps them learn and improve even faster.
So it's not just about showing off, it's about using those real-world struggles to get better. Makes sense. But is it all robo-taxes? Or are they working on other stuff too?
Oh, definitely not just robo-taxis. Their intelligent driving segment covers a whole range of autonomous driving technologies. Stuff for regular cars, too. Imagine your car driving you to work while you chill out, catch up on emails, or even take a nap.
That would be a dream, especially for anyone who hates rush hour. But what about safety? I think a lot of people are still kind of freaked out about giving a machine control, especially when it comes to driving. Are these systems really ready for the real world?
Safety is the top priority, of course, and Baidu is going all out to make sure their autonomous driving tech is solid. Think rigorous testing, backup safety systems, and working closely with regulators to set clear safety rules.
So it's not just a race to get the tech out there, it's a careful and responsible approach to making it safe and reliable. That's good to hear. But we can't forget, this is a global competition. How does Baidu compare to those big international players?
It's a tough race for sure. Companies like Tesla, Waymo, Cruise, they're all fighting for the top spot. Baidu's got some advantages, though. They know the Chinese market inside and out, and they've got a lot of support from the Chinese government, which is really pushing for self-driving tech.
Yeah, that government backing could be huge. They've got the resources, the infrastructure, and the regulations to support innovation, almost like a perfect breeding ground for their self-driving ambitions.
Exactly. And they're using those advantages to make some serious progress. They're not just keeping up with the big guys, they're often setting the pace.
It's fascinating to watch it all unfold. Feels like we're on the verge of a major shift in how we get around. Okay, we've talked about a lot, but there's still more to explore. Let's dive into their mobile ecosystem. This is where their old internet business and their new AI stuff come together, right?
Absolutely. Their main app, the Baidu app, has a ton of users, over 679 million active users every month. It's like a giant playground for them to test out new AI features, see what people like, and refine their approach.
So it's like a real-world lab where they can play with AI and see how it works in the wild. What are some examples of how they're adding AI into the Baidu app?
We'll take their search function. They've put their Ernie AI platform right into the search bar, making it way smarter. It's not just about matching words anymore. It's about understanding what you're actually looking for and giving you better results.
That's cool, like having a personal AI assistant helping you find stuff.
Yeah.
But what about the other things they offer on the app, like news and recommendations?
That's another place where AI is key. They're using AI to track what users do, what they like, even what they read, and then give them personalized recommendations. It's all about making the Baidu app something people can't live without.
So they're using AI to make it more addictive, basically.
Yeah.
Smart move in a world where people are constantly bombarded with information.
Exactly. They got to stand out, and AI gives them the tools to do that. They're also using AI for smaller stuff that makes a big difference, like AI-powered voice search, so people can just talk to the app instead of typing.
I love voice search. It's so much easier, especially when you're busy. But it only works if the AI can understand what you're saying. How's Baidu doing on that front?
They've put a lot of effort into natural language processing, training their AI models on mountains of Mandarin Chinese speech data. The result is a voice search that's really accurate and responsive. And it's not just about understanding words, it's about understanding what you mean, making those conversations more natural.
That's impressive. Seems like they're pushing the boundaries of what voice search can do. But what about the companies that use Baidu? How are they helping them out with AI?
They've got this feature called Managed Page, where businesses can build their own little spot right inside the Baidu app, like a mini website within the app. Gives them a way to connect with potential customers right there.
So instead of building their own apps or websites, they can just tap into Baidu's huge user base and use their AI tools to reach their target audience.
Exactly. And they're going even further by using AI to help businesses polish their content, target their marketing campaigns, and even analyze customer data. It's like having a whole team of digital marketing experts at your fingertips.
Now, that's what I call helpful. It seems like they're creating a win-win for everyone. Businesses get a powerful platform and cool AI tools, and users get a better and more personalized experience on their phones. But we can't ignore the ethical side of all of this AI stuff. Are they doing anything to address concerns about bias, privacy, and using AI responsibly?
That's a huge issue, and Baidu knows it. They've got internal rules and are working with others in the industry to make sure AI is developed ethically. They've even published their own guidelines about being transparent, accountable, and protecting user privacy.
That's good to know. AI is powerful stuff, and it needs to be used the right way. Okay, we've talked about intelligent driving, we talked about their mobile ecosystem, but there's one piece missing: their content ecosystem. Platforms like Baidu Winku, that document sharing site, and Baidu Tiba, their online forum. What's their role in all this AI stuff?
These platforms are more than just places for content. They're like giant data gold mines for Baidu's AI ambitions. Think about all the info in Baidu Wenku. Research papers, technical manuals, history books, everything. It's a perfect training ground for their AI models in natural language processing, summarization, even translation.
The more you feed an AI, the smarter it gets.
Mm.
Makes sense. But how are they actually using AI to make those platforms better for users? Is it all behind the scenes, or are there any obvious AI features?
They're definitely using it to improve the user experience. For example, in Baidu Wenku, they've added AI features that let you search inside documents, translate them instantly, and get quick summaries of long texts.
So instead of having to read a ton of technical stuff or struggle with another language, people can just use AI to get what they need fast. Super useful.
Exactly. It's about empowering people and making information easy to access. But they're going even further than just finding information. They're also exploring how AI can help people be more creative and work together better.
That sounds interesting. How are they doing that?
One way is with Baidu Tiba, their online forum. They're using AI to analyze what people are talking about, spot trends, and connect users with similar interests. They've even tried using AI to suggest creative ideas and help people brainstorm on the forum.
So they're not just organizing info, they're using AI to spark new ideas. That's pretty cool.
Hmm.
But what about the potential problems? We talked about the ethical stuff. Could these platforms be used to spread fake news, make biases worse, or even manipulate people?
Those are definitely valid concerns. Baidu's got rules for what content is allowed, and they're using AI to find and remove bad stuff. They're also working on ways to identify and fix biases in their algorithms.
It's a tough job, and one that needs constant attention. It's good to know they're taking it seriously.
Absolutely. Responsible AI development is all about recognizing those challenges and working hard to minimize the risks. It's an ongoing thing, always improving and getting better.
Well, we've covered a ton of ground today. Intelligent driving, mobile ecosystem, content platforms. We've seen how Baidu is using AI to improve the user experience, help businesses, and even revolutionize transportation. It's been quite a ride. But now it's time to take a step back. What does Baidu's AI transformation really tell us about the future of AI? What can we learn from their story?
That's the big question, and that's what we'll be talking about in our final part. Stick around as we wrap up our deep dive into Baidu and explore what their journey means for the wider world of AI.
And we're back. This is it, the grand finale of our deep dive into Baidu. We've been on quite the adventure, haven't we? Exploring their big move from internet giant to AI powerhouse.
You've uncovered some pretty amazing stuff. Remember those crazy numbers we talked about? Like 1.65 billion API calls every day, and those driverless taxis cruising around Hong Kong?
You, our listeners, you've been with us every step of the way, taking all this info, putting the pieces together, and hopefully starting to think about what this whole AI future really means for us.
And that's what this last part is all about. Stepping back, looking at the big picture, and asking, what does this all mean? Where's Baidu going, and what can their success teach us?
Let's start with the obvious. Baidu is betting everything on AI. They want to be a global leader in this tech that's changing the world.
And they're not the only ones. The AI race is on. Countries and companies are battling it out to be number one, but Baidu has a unique edge. They're operating in China, a tech powerhouse that's growing like crazy.
Right, they've got millions of users, tons of data to feed their AI, and a government that's fully behind AI development. It's like a perfect storm for their AI dreams.
Yeah, like a supercharged incubator.
Yeah.
But even incubators can be fragile. What are some of the roadblocks Baidu might face as they try to win this race?
Well, the competition is fierce, both in China and around the world. In their home turf, they've got companies like Alibaba and Tencent who are also pouring money into AI.
And globally, they're up against heavy hitters like Google and Microsoft, plus a bunch of ambitious AI startups. It's a crowded field, and having cool tech isn't enough.
It's about execution, being quick on your feet, and knowing how to change with the times. What other challenges do you see popping up?
One big one is the whole ethical side of AI. As AI gets smarter and spreads everywhere, we have to think about things like bias, privacy, and responsible use. Baidu, like any company working with AI, has to be very careful about these issues.
Yeah, it's not just about making the smartest AI, it's about making it ethical, making sure it's fair, transparent, and accountable right from the start.
Exactly. We have to remember that AI isn't neutral. It reflects the values of the people who create it. And for you listening out there, this is super important. When you see AI in your life, don't just accept it blindly. Ask questions, challenge the assumptions, and demand transparency.
Absolutely. We need to be informed, engaged users of AI, not just passive consumers. We need to understand how it works, how it's being used, and what it means for us and for society.
So back to Baidu. If they overcome all these hurdles and actually achieve their AI goals, what could it mean for the average person?
Imagine a world where AI just blends seamlessly into your day, making things easier, faster, and maybe even more fun.
Think about it. Your phone knows what you need before you do, giving you personalized suggestions and reminders. Your car gets you to work while you relax or get stuff done.
Doctors use AI to diagnose illnesses earlier and more accurately, leading to better treatments and healthier people.
It's a future full of possibilities, but we also have to think about the potential downsides. We need to talk honestly about how widespread AI adoption might impact jobs, about algorithmic bias, and about the possibility of it being misused.
It's a complicated issue, but it's a conversation we need to have. We need to be thoughtful, critical, and proactive in shaping the future of AI, making sure it benefits everyone, not just a few.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive, we want you to consider this. Baidu's AI transformation is like a snapshot of what's happening in the world today. It's a story about innovation, big dreams, and the constant push for technological progress.
And it's a story that's still being written. The ending isn't set in stone. The choices Baidu makes, the rules governments create, and the demands we make as consumers and citizens, they'll all shape how AI develops.
So stay informed, stay engaged, and keep those critical questions coming. And if you're curious, go check out some of Baidu's stuff, see what their AI can do, and think about how it might fit into your life.
Because in the end, the future of AI isn't something that just happens to us. It's something we all create through the choices we make. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those minds working.